I finished this book over a week ago, but finals are done now, so I can actually sit down and record my review of Star Wars Resistance Reborn by Rebecca Roanhorse. Hope I said that right. I'm John Berry, and welcome to my review. Before I get into it, if you find yourself enjoying it at any time, the like button is down below, and right next to it is the dislike button if you find yourself not enjoying it. And of course also the descriptions down below, got links to my socials, my Discord, my Patreon, so those are down there. Check them out if you wish. Legal disclaimers, blah blah blah, tags, all that usual stuff people saw in the descriptions. But yes, Resistance Reborn, so let's talk about it. To begin with, I wish it was longer. I sincerely wished this book was longer. I should look this up ahead of time, but 295 pages. Basically a 300-page book, and I gotta be honest, I wanted it longer. I said that before already, and I'll say it again. I wished it was longer. I wanted to spend more time with Wedge Antilles in particular. We have not really had him much at all in the canon. We had the entire Star Wars X-Wing series in Legends, as you can see here. I'm still doing my book club on this. It'll return next year. I'll record a couple episodes during winter break so I can get ahead. But yeah, you can see all the things I note on here. But yeah, so the Star Wars X-Wing series, Wedge was one of the focal characters of those books. We learned about him. And I gotta be honest, I expected Wedge to have maybe a bit more of a role in here. No, I probably was psyching myself up too much, I acknowledge that. After all, he's only in a tiny corner while Poe gets the main focus. And, okay, we do want to focus on our sequel trilogy characters in preparation for the Rise of Skywalker. But I gotta be honest, I wanted some more of these older characters. I know. But alas, we didn't. But that's what we have Legends for, to enjoy while we wait for canon. But yeah, that's what I really do like about Legends. When there's a lower one in canon, you can always go back into the past and look at some Legends. Ooh, that's nice. But yeah, so this book is a lot about how the Resistance was able to rebuild following The Last Jedi. Again, I wish there was longer. I wish they had shown more of the Resistance being rebuilt. But what we got was still good. We got the return of Shriv and Zayvucio, so return of the characters from the Star Wars Battlefront 2, the storyline, well, more specifically, one of the characters and the daughter of the main character. But yeah, we get them back. They appeared at the tail end in the Resurrection DLC, is when they contacted the Resistance for the first time. So that was going on, of course. We had their story, then we had the story with Wedge and Noah Wexley, Wedge and Antilles and Noah Wexley, and it is confirmed that they have married, because they were, I shouldn't be looking down here, but yeah, my Star Wars, got one of the Aftermath books down here, and in those books, clearly they were falling in love and all that. So we get a little bit of it from Snap Wexley as well, and his wife, that he married in the Poe Dameron comics. So we get a little more about those characters, not too much, and we get to see Akiva again, and there's a couple, and then we also get Poe's storyline as well, and Leia's storyline. So I would say the four main characters of this book are Poe, Leia, Wedge, and Shriv. Seriously, I know they got Finn and Rey on here, but they, in my opinion, were not the main characters of the story. Poe was definitely the main one. His story was coming to terms with the mistakes he made in The Last Jedi. I still felt he was slightly justified in his mutiny against Vice Admiral Holdo, because, seriously, I think he was slightly justified. Perhaps maybe he should have requested a meeting with her and tried to talk things out before he did it. But he was slightly justified. It felt like he didn't trust her. And that's, I hate to talk about The Last Jedi in this, but I gotta be honest. When a commander needs the trust of those under him or her, and to lose that trust is not good. Holdo did not have the trust of everyone under her. She should have worked better to earn the trust of Poe. She and Poe could have trusted each other, the Resistance probably would not be in a bad situation. But Poe did make a lot of mistakes. He should have trusted Holdo as well. He should have. There's no doubt about that. Would have been good for her to show him that he could trust her, which I feel like he wasn't. Holdo made that mistake. She was almost too distant from those under her command. And so Poe made mistakes as a result of that. Now he has to come to terms with that. He has to come with terms that he made mistakes and got people killed. And that is an important lesson for him. His story arc in The Last Jedi was becoming a leader. This book completes that storyline. Like, now that he's learned his lesson, he has to come to terms with it. And he learns that in this book. The Force Awakens is showing him as a hero. Well, he has to go from hero to leader. And that's I think going to be very important in the rise of Skywalker, that he's going to be a leader of the Resistance now. Not just, the leader of a Starfighter squadron, but like one of the principal leaders of the Resistance as a whole. Which I think is going to be very important. And this book showed him coming to terms with the lesson he learned so that he could become that leader. And then, of course, Leia's storyline was, it was Leia. I don't know how much to do it. I would say a little bit of continuation of what we saw in Star Wars Bloodline as well. Building the Resistance and such. And speaking of Bloodline, this is a spoiler warning, because I do spoiler reviews, obviously. Senator Castrofo returns in this book. We all saw he was dead at the end of Bloodline, including Leia. Well, he's now a prisoner, some digits, but he was rescued in this book by Wedge Antilles, yes, which I love. So now he's back, and I hope he's actually in the in the Rise of Skywalker. Because thing is this, you have to get into Star Wars politics, if you will, but you had the populist who founded the Resistance. Now you have the centrist who's a supporter, and who's basically supporter more or less, but definitely a friend of Leia's. Joins in. I could see some of the centrist words that would have been fine with the First Order previously reconsider their position, especially those that were maybe not necessarily diehards, but didn't object. Could get them to think. And I hope we actually get Senator Castrofo in The Rise of Skywalker. You don't have to make it much, but just, have him being one of the political leaders with Leia and maybe some others. Doesn't have to be much, just give him a line or something. But yeah. And then, of course, we have more about Leia's storyline. Not of her is actually, running this. A little bit of Rey-ness in there, talking with Rey and helping Rey come to terms with some things. And then, of course, there's Shriv. And I feel like he's the other major character because we get his perspective a few times during his mission. In fact, speaking of the mission, there are 3 missions going on. And that's how I got actually 4 missions, and that's how I got who's the main characters. We have Poe's mission, Wedge's mission, Shriv's mission, and Leia's mission. And each of them are different and reflect those stories in some ways. Leia's is really about, coming to terms with what has happened, and, building up the Resistance for when she's gone. It's not directly stated, but, it's implied that she knows that she won't be around forever and she needs to build the Resistance so it can last without her, which is very important. They actually go to Ryloth to regroup. Basically the Ryloth government wants to remain neutral, understandably, and so they set up a quasi-recognized private militia. It's crazy. The Ryloth the Ryloth government sets it up, but keeps it distant enough from them, that way they can disown them in case they need to, but so they can have a backup just in case the First Order comes a-knocking. But at the same time, the Ryloth Defense Authority has authority over the actual Ryloth military. And it's like, just an interesting situation there. I was hoping we actually would get maybe a mention of Hera Syndulla, or we get a mention of Cham Syndulla, believe. But I wish we got a mention of Hera as well. But alas, we can't have a mention of everything. I think we get a mention of Cham. But yeah. And of course the leader of the Irish Defence Authority is actually another character we had in the Bloodline who had served with the rebellion as well and was a historian by trade. And also was a starfighter pilot at one point. And at the end, he joins the Resistance. Because, you know, the First Order comes a-knocking. And the Ryloth government was like, okay, we're going to just rat you guys out to protect us. Alas, but that gave the Resistance time to regroup, which was important. Now they got some Twi'leks on their side, and it's going to be only a matter of time before I think all of Ryloth is fighting the First Order. I just have that feeling based off what we've seen in Ryloth, in the Clone Wars, and in Rebels. But let's actually transition away from Leia to Poe. So I was talking about Poe's journey in this book is dealing with the lessons and coming to terms with the lessons and events of The Last Jedi to become a leader. His mission, I don't think really reflected that too much, but his mission was basically just do a list of First Order detainees, basically people the First Order have marked as potentially rebellious and problematic, and some list of prisoners, some list of those on the list that they were needing to apprehend, and that's used to explain why the Resistance hasn't been able to get much allies. The First Order has already taken and arrested them. And of course Maz alerts Poe to this and sets Poe up to go on that mission, and they do get the list. Granted, they lose a lot of credits for the Resistance, but they do get their list on Corellia. And, well, you might recognize Corellia. Home of Han Solo, homeworld of Wedge Antilles, etc., etc. Corellian corvettes. It's a pretty YT 1300 light freighters. Yep, pretty familiar world. So we get there, and actually we do get the point of view of two other characters of the First Order in this book that relate to Corellia. A First Order records officer and one of his assistants. Of course, the First Order records officer is, you know, a bit, what's the word I'm looking for, egotistical to say the least. And yeah, not much about him, but he actually has two assistants, one of which, a Mon Calamari, I believe it was, is the one who leaked that First Order list, that list of Resistance sympathizers to a network of slices and all that. I forget the name, I could look it through here, but leaks it to that group, who then sells it to the Resistance. And then of course there's the other that records officer, other assistant, who ends up, after being beaten by the records officer, joining the Resistance and helping the Resistance free the prisoners because she has an eidetic memory. Well, the Mon Calamari character, I think he's killed? No, I'm not sure what happens to him. I sincerely forgot. It's been a while. If I reread it, I probably would. But yeah, we got those characters, and that's actually connects very much to Wedge's mission, because his mission was to steal ships and hopefully recover some prisoners that were being held on Corellia, potentially. They recover the prisoners, they steal some ships, and they also, if I remember correctly, steal a CL-90 corvette, or at least a Corellian corvette. Was it CL-90? I don't know. Now, I don't think it was a Tantive V4, because I think they would have said if it was a Tantive V4. I like to think the Empire hid it on some backwater planet, and the Resistance stumbles across it by accident. No, a happy accident, if you will. But yeah, so they do that, steal some ships and all that. They rescue Poe and his team, because the First Order raids the party where they were going to get the list from at an auction. Whole thing there. And then of course we get Shriv's storyline. And they are going to the planet Bracca. For those of you who haven't played Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, well, Bracca is the planet that we start on in that game, playing the Cal Kestis, because that was the planet he was above during Order 66, and that's where he went into hiding. And of course we get that creature that devours metal mentioned in here. And so Shriv and his team, with Versio and a few others, they go, and members of Shadow Squadron, I think it was. No, Phantom Squadron, that's it. I'm thinking of a different Starfighter Squadron. But yeah, Phantom Squadron, some members there, they go to Bracca, disguise themselves as members of the Scrapper Guild to steal some ships. So what they end up getting? They end up getting some X-Wings. There was 6 X-Wings, 3 T-70s, 1 T-85, and a 1 T-65. What I loved is that all the T-70s were missing an important component that's needed to start the X-Wing. Though if you had an astromech, it's easy to override, but not so much without it. So it's like you can bypass it, but it's not necessary. Think of it like a carburetor, I guess. I'm not sure. But the T-80, which I think it was Shriv notes that such a new ship should not be sent to scrap. So, but the T-80 and the T-65 are the two that did not have any problem starting up. Granted, one of the members of Phantom Squadron, his sister was part of the Scrapper Guild and had done some scouting for them ahead of time, and might have done a little bit to get those two fighters, especially the T-65, ready for launch. But they use the T-80 to tow a T-70, the T-65 to tow another T-70. Shriv gets one of the T-70s working and uses it to tow the last one. Meanwhile, Zay is protecting the shuttle, and she then comes in to help give Shriv the opportunity to get away by distracting the First Order, and they all regroup with the Resistance. And that group that was helping, that they got the list from, is actually the one providing the Resistance the new temporary headquarters. Okay, so that group is called the Collective. I just looked it up. And so they're actually providing the Resistance a little bit of a hideout right now, while they, are regrouping once again. So, again, they're in a better position. They got some more ships now. They got at least 6 X-Wings, a Corvette, and I would say at least 2 new Starfighters out of all this. So, maybe not as much as they want, but they got a lot of, people the First Order was keeping as political prisoners to join them. And of course, having Ransom Castrofor, Senator Castrofor, I think will be a huge benefit to the Resistance. And so this is, I think, laying the groundwork for the Resistance rebuilding. The Resistance has gotten a new spark at life. And let's remember, the Resistance actually had it easier than the Rebellion. The Rebellion took basically 15 years to build up. You had some initially, they died out, and then within 5 years, all the initial resistance to the Empire was gone, and then about a decade later, the Rebellion popped up, and the Rebellion had it harder. The Empire was firmly entrenched by the time the Rebellion was getting powerful, and so it was really starting up. The Resistance has it easy, though resisting an encroachment by an authoritarian government. They have it easier in some regards. But in some regards, they have it harder because, the galaxy is just apathetic. And that's what the Resistance has to deal with. Here, we don't see them deal with the apathy by the normal everyday citizenship. They have to deal with basically making sure they get the people they know will support them safe and away from the First Order. So, yeah, I got some complaints about this book. I wish it was longer. I wish we spent more time with Wedge. His story is pretty much basically realizing that he and Noah, they want to be in the action again. And not just stuck on a farmhouse or stuck in a stuffy room. No, they want to be in the action again. So, it remains to be seen. I hope we see both of them in The Rise of Skywalker. And it doesn't have to be much, though. I think with Wedge, we need something a bit more than, Tilly, so, Reg, what do you think of this? We need a little bit more than that. Maybe interaction with Snap would be good, because they can have actors for both of them. Who knows? It's only a few days before I see you trust, so I'll know then. But yeah, that's all I actually have for you today. Let me know what you thought of the book of Resistance Reborn down in the description. My biggest complaint is, I wish it was longer. So, is that a complaint? The complaint is it's too short. The criticism is, I wish it was longer. And I sincerely think it could be longer. I just wanted more wedged, to be honest. So, I'll be resuming my X-Wing book club for sure. But yeah, that's all I have for you today. Links are in the description down below. As I said earlier, there's a subscribe button below this video as well. So be sure to check that out. And as always, have a good day, a good night, wherever you are. May the Force be with you, always.